Hello Raiders, this is Ezra, and welcome back to my Bastion. This is part 3 of my Gear Cleanse series. In part 1, I went over the philosophy of, how I am going to start to do gear cleanses and how I recommend that you do them. In part 2, I went through a bunch of new gear that I got from the last fusion. It was a lot of Dragon and Fire Knight gear. And now in part 3, I'm going to go through my vault and do a whole lot of cleaning. I talked a little bit about what my account needs and what my account doesn't need in the previous videos. I will repeat that here just so everyone knows what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I've got 1,271 pieces of gear right now. My goal is to get this into the 800 range by just getting rid of gear that I will, in all honesty, never use. So first thing I'm going to do is pull up my filter. In general, it's easier to get gear and good gear on the top 3 slots, the weapon, the helmet, and the shield, because they have fixed main stats. And as you can see, out of my 1,270 pieces, 836 are from here. And so I'm going to be much more aggressive with these pieces than I will with the ones in the bottom row. And generally, pieces that are rolled, like these pieces, I'm going to keep. Really, it's looking for getting rid of the pieces that aren't rolled yet or ones that I will never use. Some of the recent quality of life changes, I think, have made this a lot more achievable. So the first thing I'm going to do is look for any 5-star gear I have that is unrolled. And for where I am now on my account, generally speaking, these things will get sold immediately. I do make exceptions for relentless gear because that's hard to get. You have to win tournaments, as well as some of the other more niche pieces. Like here's a good example. I have very little stone skin because the Hydra boss just came out, so I am a lot more flexible with those items. Really the only one here that I think is worth mentioning. This really isn't that terrible for a defense champion, especially it's a set that's kind of hard to get because you need to kill Doom Tower bosses. So I'm going to leave them in place. Now let's look at 5-star epic gear. There's probably a lot of gear in here I have that I now will really never use. So, out of these 300 pieces, I'm expecting to sell a lot of them. We'll look for a few sort of offhand just for commentary's sake, but I'm not going to go through every piece here or the video would be 9 hours long. So here's a good example of something, earlier in my account's progression, I probably would have used because it's got speed and a crit damage and an attack substat, but right now, because it's 5-star epic and I would really prefer 6-star gear, this kind of stuff gets sold. We'll also look at this one real quick. At one time, this was good. There's a time when you want all the speed you can get, but now not very useful for me in my account. Especially defense gear, now that there's other upgrades, you can be a little bit more aggressive with that. Attack percentage and defense set. If this was crit rate or hit points, it might be useful. And just, generally low rolls there means I'm going to get rid of those sorts of things. Where this becomes really much more important to is accuracy. I don't even really bother with these anymore, to be honest, because perception set is a strict upgrade, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. The lifesteal gear, unless it's just got perfect substats, I'm going to get rid of these because you don't use it as much later in the game, and I'm ready to move on to bigger and better things. Especially the same with Fury gear. It's really niche only for specific sort of clan boss or people with unkillable builds like Leorius. So not super concerned about keeping 5-star epic gear for that. The same goes with days. This is, offset pieces that at this point I will never use in my account. So I'm going to get rid of virtually all of these, unless something has like perfect stats and it'll roll well. Not really worth it. I would expect that I also have for a lot of these sort of offset pieces. There are equipped pieces on my various champions which are probably better than what I've got here. So moving on to that. Again, Frenzy, not terribly used, and things like this with low speed rolls, there are way better ways to get the stats you need. It's actually not terrible with a 6% crit rate, but it's only 5-star gear. Trying to make a point in being super aggressive with what I get rid of here. Regeneration set is an exception. That's really good and powerful for Doom Tower. Like something like this is worth keeping for my account. In the regen set, because you need this, speed and hit points again, really good in regen, and it's a super strong set. So I'm going to keep that. Need immunity gear, so going to not worry about that right now. Shield gear is another thing entirely. Like, this isn't bad. If it gets more rolls in hit points or speed, it's worth it. But here's an example, especially a shield set with no hit point percentage, not terribly helpful, because you're going to want to put it on hit point champs and make sure that you get as much hit points as you can out of your gear. Destroy, I think I only have 1 or 2 champions that even wear this, and I've got overall better gear on them, so this stuff is all going right in the bin. Sort of the same goes with stun. I've got a lot of it. Trying to free up space and bias myself towards using 6-star gear, so there we go. Toxic's all the same way. If I'm going to want to use stuff, it's going to need to be either ridiculously good or 6-star. Like, especially that piece with defense percentage and attack percentage, not helpful. Low speed and crit rate rolls, so all this kind of stuff can go to free up room on your account. See what's in here. Not terrible. I'm going to keep this. I'll check it out later when I do set-based cleanup, just to make sure I have at least 1 set of taunting in case I should need it for something. Not a lot of help. Yeah, not a lot of help there either. Especially with retaliation and avenging. They're useful for some things, but they're pretty niche overall. So I'm very selective or trying to be more selective rather, in what I keep. This is a neat one, actually. Max rolls and crit damage and defense, but going to get rid of that. As well as, most of the stalwart stuff that's relatively easy to get, unless it's got maximum rolls for everything. Probably not going to keep a whole lot of it. Reflex, again, is sort of a weird niche set that when you need it, you need a lot of it. So I'm not going to drill too far down into that. But we will, like, curing has really only a handful of real direct set benefits. It's mostly all sets for me, so I'm going to be good about getting rid of things. Cruel and Immortal gear, you get more of that from the clan boss every day, and my account has a lot of it, so I can afford to be pretty strict in deciding what I keep. Basically, something like this, unless it has either speed, crit rate, and crit damage, speed, crit rate, attack, like, even that, because it's got a low roll, probably I'm going to keep that for now, but that might not make the cut on a second look. And then these shields, yeah, like low crit rate rolls, and no crit damage. And this one, no crit rate, yeah, not super helpful. Looking into this, unless it's basically got speed and hit point percentage, or speed and accuracy with good rolls, not a lot of usefulness in keeping some of this gear. That's actually not bad just from a high crit rate roll and pretty good everywhere else. But low rolls, going to get rid of a lot of this stuff just for space. You know, we'll keep essentially the best of the best only in these sets. You know, the divine sets, you get them from arena chest. Like, here's a divine critical. I have all kinds of 5-star epic weapons. So unless it's got perfect stats, I'm probably going to get rid of these. Just so I'm not holding my account back any more than I have to. Like low rolls there. No crit rate. Not terrible in a crit damage set because it's got, sorry, crit rate set because it's got crit damage. Not so good because of low rolls there. I should get rid of that one. Get rid of that. For this, really, you want speed, accuracy, hit points, or perfect everything else. Got low roll, gonna get rid of it. Not a lot of help. Bin rolled, got a double speed roll, so that's why you keep them. Like, this is actually pretty good. Yes, it's low on speed, but hit points and crit damage. Worth rolling more. Not so much there. Could be helpful with high rolls and hit points. Not a lot of help. Nope. Nope. It's not bad for a debuffer type. Divine speed, we'll keep most of this to see, and swift parry to see if it rolls doubles or triples on speed substats. Resilience gear, you can craft it in the forge easily. Like, this is a kind of piece that's worth keeping at 5-star epic for me. You have a maximum roll for crit rate and very good rolls for crit damage and speed. We'll keep that, but anything that isn't even quite that good is going in the bin. So I can roll 6-star versions of it. That's probably worth keeping. And then, so yeah, all the perception stuff again. It's with no accuracy and sort of low speed rolls, you can get so much more mileage out of just being selective with 6-star gear. I'm going to get rid of most of this. That's not terrible for a damage dealer. No accuracy, low rolls, low roll and speed, but not bad. Average all around, and then the various crafted from Doom Tower bosses, I'm much less selective with. Not even super worried about. So out of the 303 items up here, I'm getting rid of almost half. 125 for 5 million silver. So, you know, I can then turn around and roll 5 million silver worth of other gear to increase the overall power and usefulness of my account. So I'm going to sell all these. And I'm maybe a third of the way where I need to be in terms of freeing up vault space. The next thing to look at here is, what do I have in 6-star rare? Like, in anything other than double rolls for common sets, this is the kind of things we're going to get rid of. Like, can go right to getting rid of here. We'll get back to Savage in a minute. Like, that's actually not bad. Speed and defense there. It would have been nicer with hit points. Not bad, not bad. You know, immunity is something you always need for arena champions. And we'll look at some of these things. Yeah, not so good there. Ooh, yeah, for 6-star gear, that's not a good one either. We'll get rid of that. So I rolled most of these and have reason to keep a lot of the other stuff. We'll look at the Savage items real fast. Speed and crit rate worth keeping. It's a damage dealing set. Speed and defense, ooh, probably not. Worth it if you can get some crit rate elsewhere. Not so much. Again, worth it if you can get crit rate elsewhere. Another roll in crit rate, and this will be good if it hits resistance. That's the kind of thing you'd want to sell. Oh. Let me go back and re-click all those things real fast with sell on. There we go. Got them reselected. We'll float up to the top, see if we've missed anything that hasn't been rolled. So yeah, I've already been relatively aggressive with cleaning up those things. So we'll sell them and then move on. Now here's the next thing to look at for me is crit rate gloves, especially early on. You use crit rate gloves a lot to get yourself crit capped. I'm trying to move almost exclusively to crit damage gloves for my damage dealers. So yeah, so we got 49 crit rate gloves. Let's see what hasn't been rolled, and if anything hasn't been rolled, we will get rid of it. Like here's a good example of, yes, get rid of, especially because it has no crit damage substats. And it's in a set that is sort of marginal. Like this earlier in the game would be a really good piece, especially if it gets multiple hits on speed or crit damage. But just low speed and the fact that it's in a set I'm not going to use a whole lot means it is relatively out the door. This might be worth keeping if it gets multiple rolls in crit damage and it's in a regen set. Again, multiple rolls in crit damage, almost worth it. I'm a little bit less selective here, but we'll see through some of these if they have poor other substats we will get rid of very easily. And once again, I didn't have sell on. Let me go back and fix that. All right, so I think we're caught up, and now sell is back on. I've been collecting some of these. Yeah. No speed there, but it does have defensive stats. I think out the door. Yeah, again, no speed, probably not good for me to use. We'll ignore Relentless, just because it's hard to get for me. We'll look at Taunting once we get to the whole set. But here's the kind of things that, yeah, only being rare, going to get rid of that. No crit damage substat, we'll get rid of those things. Already rolled once in crit damage. Worth rolling that up again just to see if we get more into it, but not super excited about that. Yeah, no crit damage in Cruel set. Might be worth it there. This one is not worth it. Worth rolling these even just to see if they get into speed substats. So, you know, got rid of 11, got rid of a quarter of the crit rate gloves, which is a good thing, and will, you know, help and free up some space so I can transition all damage dealers to crit damage gloves. Now, another thing I look at a lot, sorry, when I stop over clicking, is we'll go to boots, see where we are with hit point percent, attack percent, or defense percent. Essentially, these are all high-end build things. So for most anything that's 5-star, I'm not even gonna think about using. Like this one's already been rolled. I'll keep, has some usefulness on a hit point based damage dealer, but it's sort of marginal, might not survive a second round because it has attack and no speed, and is 5-star. So not a lot of help there. We'll probably get rid of that. This we'll keep just for crit rate and crit damage. So only had 8 of them, sold 1 to increase my cleared space on the account. Now we'll do the same thing for attack percentage. Essentially, if it's 5-star, it's going to go, unless it's in a set or I have some reason to keep it. Not a lot of them. Interesting, that's probably already happened. And now we'll do the same thing for defense percent. Essentially, if it's 5-star, it's out the door. I've only got 9 of them. I don't see any that are 5-star, so good there. Going to now do other niche things are accuracy and resistance chest plates. Again, basically if it's not 6-star, I get rid of it because it's going to be a really, really specific build. This worth keeping probably at 5-star just because of where it's got existing rolls. But we'll see if we have anything else that's... No, nothing else that's worth selling there for accuracy chests. And then we will check resist chest just for anything that is 5-star. Nothing in there. So we're through all of the, unusual marginal pieces. I will go now, probably do a deeper dive into chest pieces overall. We'll start with hit points percentages. Anything that's not rolled, that's rare, will probably go. Like, yeah, sort of marginal. It's 6-star rare and does have, solid stats and substats that mostly work. But really, you would either want accuracy for someone who might take a hit but has to land debuffs, or crit rate, crit damage for someone who, a hit point based damage dealer. So going to get rid of that, especially because it's in Frenzy. Let's look at other rare items. Yeah, this is, arena set only if it double rolls. And speed. Here's some interesting ones. So 5-star epic pieces with low rolls. Yeah, that's a sell. Retaliation. Actually, that's a little bit better, but it's not such a good set, so I'm going to get rid of that. And Stalwart, actually, this is not bad for Stalwart. You get resist and speed for someone that might take hits. Probably worth it. Interesting. I'm going to keep this just because I don't have a lot of it, and multiple rolls and crit rate sort of help the other transition to crit damage gloves. So we will keep those items. And now we'll do the same thing for... Oh, I lost my selection there. I'm going to go sell those 2 hit point percentage items, and then we'll go through attack percentage real fast. So now we're back with attack percentage chest plates. Essentially anything that is 6-star rare or 5-star epic is probably going to get a pretty hard look at. Like at this point, this is going. No speed substat and a flat stat. That can go. Yeah, attack with, non-matching or not really set related substats, that will go. Attack with crit rate and speed. We're going to keep this for now because the stats go well with each other. Like this one's going for no speed and because it has attack and defense. This one, not terrible. As long as it doesn't roll in flat stats, is probably worth keeping. This, worth going for multiple speed rolls alone. Sort of surprised here, honestly. I thought I would have had more of these to get rid of, but that is a weakness of my account. Keeping that just because it's Savage and it's harder to get unless I have something that's strictly better. Like that's sort of on the edge too for no speed substats. Ooh, that one's rough. I should probably sell. Like that's actually not bad because of, well, number one, it's rolled. It does have the 2 flat stats, but double roll and crit rate means it's worth keeping for now. This might be the best piece we've got in Savage gear. Sell that one. Yeah, no crit rate will sell the Avenging. That's so 6-star has crit damage but no crit rate and crit speed. Gonna keep that just for completing a set, but that's sort of against my better judgment at this point. And then we get down into the perception gear. You can be super, super tough on these because it's easy to get more in the forge. You're like, that's going. This can probably stay if it only rolls crit rate and speed. It would be worth it. This actually not too bad. Yeah, and I think that one is getting sold just because of a flat stat and lack of crit rate or crit damage. So moving through these items, and then we will finish up in defense percentage chests. You know, the defense-based damage dealer is a thing, so we're going to look and see what we've got here. Probably worth keeping there because it's got crit damage substats. That might be even better because it's got crit rate substats. Defense, crit rates, hit points, and speed. Things work together well, but low roll. I will keep for now and roll that and then see where we are. And then essentially these, we've got a couple, if it either has no speed or like the first one. That we might keep for higher rolls, but I think this we're getting rid of just because of the conflict between defense and attack percentage. No speed there, but other than that, it's not terrible. Here we go. Speed, crit rate, hit points. Speed, crit damage resistance. We'll sell that one, I think. And then we'll move down into all the crafted gear. We'll check this one. Defense, hit point, speed, attack. Yeah, we're selling that one as well. So I went through a lot of the major filters I talked about in the first video. Let's see where our totals are. 1,118. I sold just over 200, 250 items. We're going to have to be, I think, a little bit even more aggressive with what we're doing here. Let's go look at some of the sets I talked about earlier. Like, where's the taunting set? You really only ever need, you know, one of these, and it's got really narrow uses. So let's see what we can get rid of in here. Speed, crit rate, attack. Speed, yeah. Saw that, no crit rate. No accuracy. I think that's worth getting rid of. That's worth keeping, I think, only because it has speed substats. Low rolls, I think we're going to get rid of that one. This gives us 1, 2. No, I think we're going to have to keep that in order to complete the set. So we get 1, 2, 3. Let's look at boots. We'll get rid of some boots that aren't so awesome. Speed, double roll, attack. Double roll, crit damage. Yeah, that we'll get rid of. Kind of marginal. Yeah, I think we'll get rid of both of them. This has got flat stats. So this now I can make a set out of if I have to. You know, should I get a hegemon? You want to put him, you know, in a taunting set or a stun set. That's what you would use it for. Turns out I might need to farm up a little bit of retaliation gear just to complete the set in that, but other than that, we're not doing a whole lot. Avenging AI, I've got a good amount of. We can probably be a little bit more stringent there. Selling that for no crit rate or crit damage, even though it does have a double roll in attack. That's actually not terrible. Not so good. Could be okay depending on how it rolls. Again, could be okay if it gets a double roll and crit rate. Much better. We'll give unrolled helmets a look. Worth rolling. Probably worth rolling there too. Yeah. All these, I think, we're not going to be able to do a lot more with selling until we actually put some rolls on them. Here's something you can look at. We've got a lot of stalwart shields. We'll blast through that real fast. Speed crew. Worth rolling. This one, maybe not. That might get... Yeah, actually we'll get rid of that one instead. Just because of flat stats. Then we'll continue along. Here's what I wanted to look at. Yeah, we need enough pieces to create a set. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Not terrible there. They're both probably worth keeping. As is that. And then roll into curing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think we'll roll these, I think, before we get rid of any more. So we'll sell that and go back to doing a count. At this point, down to 1,112. I'm going to roll a bunch of these things to 8 and see what I can sell. I'm still about 300 items away from my goal of getting to 800 by just getting rid of stuff I'll never use. But, you know, I just wanted to show everyone and sort of put my money where my mouth is in terms of how I recommend that you look at your account. And I've gone through a lot of it now with this one. Hopefully you all will take the opportunity and decide, this is useful to you and maybe how you could advance your account. If you like the content and want to see more of it, please like and subscribe. I would appreciate it, and that's the signal for me to keep doing what I've been doing. So this is Ezron. Thank you very much for watching. I'm signing off.